Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. Thank you for having me and give this opportunity. Before I pursue my speech, I would like to introduce myself and my colleague. My name Helmi, alongside with Amri, Hanif and Ma'el. We will talk about our speech, which is environment. All living things that live on this earth comes under the environment. Whether they live on land or water, they are part of the environment. The environment also includes air, water, sunlight, plants, and animals. Moreover, the Earth is considered the only planet in the universe that supports life. The environment can be understood as a blanket that keeps life on the planet safe and sound. Our main topic is about flood. The reason why we choose this title, in order to provide awareness and knowledge in the future if flood is come again. Floods are natural disasters that often hit our country, especially in the East Coast State Peninsula Malaysia. Usually, this state will experience a monsoon season at the end of each year. Floods occur due to several factors. Among them is the result of continuous rain. Frequent heavy rains during the season cause flooding in the area. Continuous rain without stopping for several hours will cause flooding. In low-lying areas, rainwater will flow into rivers. The water that fills the river will overflow, causing the lowland to be filled with water. Many properties were destroyed, as well as livestock and crops died. Those involved, such as farmers, will suffer huge loss. Floods can also be life-threatening. Many drown because they play with the flood water that flow fast and deep. It can be dangerous if they don't know how to swim. Other than that, the process of urbanization, frequent river erosion, lack of a perfect drainage system. The various effects of the flood include the destruction of property, loss of life. Communication on system will also be affected by an animal. Day after day, climate change can lead to become one of the global threat. If it wasn't day by this become of human irresponsibility. Climate change can result in an increase of risk in environment disaster incidents such as flood. Recently, our country has experienced the worst and devastating flood disaster throughout the years. Hence, let's investigate to give a clearer insight on the effect and action that need to be taken in order to tackle this flood disaster. Based on bernama news today, the number of flood victims in Johor and Pahang record a slight increase this afternoon. So, I would like to give way to my group members to explain in more depth the effect, causes, and action taken during and after the floods. This will be explained by my group member, which is Amri, Hanif, and Ma'el. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Nur Amri bin Amir Rashid. My matric number is 065685. I want to discuss in part 1 about the cause of the flood. First cause is raining day after day. Floods will occur if the rain does not stop. Rainwater will fall into rivers in low-lying locations. Rivers that are full with water will overflow, flooding lowland to lowland areas. The outflow of river water from the estuary may create flooding in regions along the river and affecting a large number of people. My second point is the urbanization process can cause of the flood. Many places have been modernized as a result of the urbanization trend. Land from hilly places has been used to reclaim lowland areas. There are other tributaries that have been covered so that they can be used as construction ground. Floods are caused in part by activities like this. If tributaries and valleys were once employed as water flow regions, the area has since been covered with soil. Water will flow from mountainous location to low-lying areas as it rains. The water level will eventually rise, resulting in flash floods. So the location that will flood because of the urbanization process. My third point is floods be caused by river erosion. River erosion is caused by two factors: naturally occurring erosion and the discharge of human domestic trash. When it rains heavily, the water flows quickly and erode the river banks. The cliff soil will eventually collapse and generate sediment at the river's bottom. The river will then become shallow. Similarly, human actions such as dumping garbage and industrial waste into rivers can cause the river to become shallow, obstructing the flow of water. Rivers that have become shallow owing to natural erosion or pollution are able to hold discharge huge amount of precipitation when heavy rains arrive. The river water will eventually run out because of the garbage from the human. So this is one of the cause flood can be happen. Other than that, rain falls to the ground without being absorbed by plants as a result of deforestation is the one of the cause of the flood. A lot of water flow into the river as a result of the heavy rain. Rainwater does not fall in considerable quantities on the river. Floods will occur as a result of the excess of the river water of the first time of this time. Floods will result from the repatriation of lumber from field trees when river waters overflow as a result of it. Most floods being occur in our country as a result of logging. For example, in the Cameron Highlands, property and lives will be destroyed as a result of this calamity. My last point before I give Hanif to continue the discussion is unplanned drainage system can cause flood. The problem of flood that often hit the city is due to the lack of drainage system built and it is too small and shallow. So a large amount of water cause water to overflow out the ditch, causing flash flood. So the flood will happen in big city like Kuala Lumpur, Klang and others. So many people will affected by this flood. From me about part 1 in this discussion, I want to give Hanif in part 2.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. And good day everyone. My name is Muhammad Hanif bin Hamidi and my matrix number is 068386. Today I will talk about the effect of floods. Floods cause immense damage to life and property. Floods have huge social consequences for individuals and communities. As most people are well aware, the immediate effect of flooding include loss of human life, property damage, crop destruction, livestock loss, and deterioration of health conditions due to waterborne disease. In recent news, Malaysia is being hit by major flood. That resulting floods affecting 8 states across the country have left at least 51 dead and 2 missing. During its furthest extent, it caused the displacement of more than 71,000 residents. Furthermore, the aftermath of the flood was more heartbreaking, with some victims returning home to see their house gone. Dozens of families lost their home, as well as other belongings, including vehicles, which were either submerged in the floods or swept away by the current. In addition, the effect was total devastation and bring deep depression on people because of the lost everything by major flood. Moreover, the worst affected are the farmers and the economically backward communities. The farmers lost their crops. They have to move out along with their cow, and the agriculture operation are disrupted. Most farmers are not well off economically, and as such take much longer time to re-establish themselves once the flood waters have receded. Other than that, the results indicate that amongst all livestock, small stocks were the most affected by flooding, especially amongst households settled in flood-prone areas. This resulted in reduced agriculture production for cow and goat producers. The flooding affected the availability of meat, with the beef, mutton, and chicken experiencing reduced availability, while the availability of goat and cow meat increased. Flooding also caused mutton to be relatively expensive, whereas the other livestock meat products were relatively cheaper. The availability and the affordability of dairy products decreased. Last of all, the immediate health effects of the floods include drowning, injuries, hypothermia, and animal bites. Health risks also are associated with the evacuation of patients, loss of health workers, and loss of health infrastructure, including essential drugs and supplies. In the medium term, infected wounds, complication of injury, poisoning for mental health, communicable disease, and starvation are indirect effects of flooding. In the long term, chronic disease, disability, poor mental health, and poverty-related diseases, including malnutrition, are potential legacy. That's all from me. Thank you. Now I will lend this to next speaker.
Assalamualaikum and a very good day. Today I'm going to talk about action can be done after flood disaster. Several parties can take action after the flood disaster to help the flood victim. As an example, the government can increase siren stations that are also equipped with public announcement at flood-prone areas to warn residents and also to instruct them to evacuate. The government also can use closed-circuit television (CCTV) cameras at river-level monitoring stations to enable residents to be prepared to evacuate when the river water reach the danger level. Based on news from Bernama.com at 4 January 2022, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said about the proposal to improve communication things would be better controlled, he said. Taken from Bernama.com on 3rd January 2022, the Malaysian Fisheries Development Authorities says it will direct mobile market under its agencies to flood-affected locations nationwide with offers of discounts of up to 30%. His chairman, Datuk Syed Abu Hussein Hafiz said Abu Faisal said the initiative was an alternative way to assist flood victims apart from giving out free food basket. At the moment, we have 8 mobile markets that will be opened at 160 different locations beginning at 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. The move will not only help consumers but also fishermen, especially those affected by the flood, he said. The government also can help in terms of money. They can provide assistance by giving out cash aid from 500 ringgit to 1,000 ringgit each. For individuals, listen to the announcement over the radio or wait for the instruction of the authorities. Do not return to home before being allowed or before the situation is completely safe. If you are allowed to go home, you need to do something to make sure everything is under control. Inspect gas duct pipes for possible ruptures or leak. Check electrical wires that are submerged in water. Check for flammable materials that may flow in during a flood, such as kerosene, gasoline, and diesel. Next, follow recommended roads. Do not seaside. Watch for washout road, earth slides, and down tree or power lines. And stay away from down power lines. That's all from me, thank you.
To sum up, each party, including the government, agency responsible for disaster management, and citizen, need to take the flood disaster seriously. We must be alert all the time and always prepare for the worst to prevent unwanted incidents associated with the flood to occur. This is mainly because the adverse effects of the flood are very devastating. It does not only cause destruction to the infrastructure, but also affect the well-being of the victim.